Hello everyone and welcome to, I believe this is going to be Glacial Peak. Game 1 was actually on Howling, no, Glacial Peak, no, Howling Peak? Glacial something, alright. Anyway, sorry about that. I was trying to memorize the map names and then I got lost and confused. Alright, another snow map here coming in from Heart of the Swarm Beta. And remember, anything that you see right now is still in development. This is a beta, but then again, we all want to see new and interesting strategies as ToD setting up a low ground forge fast expansion once more. Now, this collapsible rock tower here will allow for a very macro-centric style. There are 4 spawning locations on this map, and we'll figure out what Dimaga is going to be doing in this matchup here. Overlord now making its way, scouting out in the counterclockwise direction. Meanwhile, ToD doing the same thing as well. Gonna quickly check if there's creep. No creep, and now pull away. Now, in Game 1, you really saw Dimaga not deviate too much from any Wings of Liberty strategy. Swarm hosts are very effective, but so far it really feels like Zerg players are still favoring that that heavy style of Zerglings and Roaches in a mass tier 2 or a mass 3 base tier 2 push. That is what we saw from Dimaga, and it's going to be up to ToD to see if he can actually force perhaps a little bit of a longer game. And if he can force a longer game, perhaps he can make Dimaga perhaps overcommit and make a mistake, as Protoss late game is pretty effective. Mothership, carriers, Tempest, all within the realm of possibility. I'm not going to make any predictions on what the current meta game is, as that is still being developed. We'll see if ToD once again goes for a forge placement utilizing those cannons, and this is actually a brilliant play. What he's doing is that he's forcing Dimaga to think that he's going into another sort of cannon rush. We can see that there is no cannons down at all, and with no cannons down at all, this pylon's not going to be doing much of anything. You can see that there's a quick cancellation there, not really doing much of anything. Dimaga didn't overreact though. He did not pull off additional drones in order to take down that pylon. Perhaps he was hoping for an overreaction from Dimaga, as now ToD makes his way down. We are seeing an Overlord now fly in here, and the Overlord of Dimaga is going to spot these 2 assimilators being placed down. So based upon what he sees that there's no gateway inside this base at all. He can pretty much assume that it is safe to take up a 3rd base. A problem here, 3rd bases are very exposed on this map. Yeah, 3rd bases are very exposed on this map. Trying to take this hatchery here is essentially expanding towards your opponent, and you don't want to do that as a Zerg player. Now, is ToD going to be able to force some sort of 2 base or 3 base play, or is Dimaga going to commit into a large amount of spy crawlers? That is going to be the question. So far, ToD in a much better position this game than the last game, where he already has his gateway up. He can easily get into a Cybernetics core if he chooses. And also, what we have to be very careful about coming in from a Zerg player is whether or not the mothership is going to pop out to take down this Overlord. Destructible rocks, collapsible rock tower will get taken down here in just a second. You can see a proxy pylon has been placed down by ToD, so ToD could try to transition into 2 base 6 gate and not even bother with the late game, as creep tumors are also being placed down as well. There is the drone that will most likely be that 3rd hatchery. It is going to be established at about the 6-minute mark, so that is a little bit more of an old school Wings of Liberty timing than the current Wings of Liberty timing that we are seeing now. Destructible rocks have fallen over, and we are now going into a Stargate. Oh, interesting play here. We are also going to be seeing that Mothership core now being added. The Mothership core can make its way over to the Overlord and just attempt to shoot it down. And now Zerg players in general have to be very careful about keeping Overlords too close to their opponent's base. This Mothership core can pretty much wander around and look for Overlords. I believe it can attack ground and air. Damage. Oh, it only targets ground. Okay, Purify can attack ground and air. Never mind. The repulsor cannon can still, however, give sight up onto the high ground on maps such as Cloud Kingdom, where there's like a little bit of a pedestal. All right, one mothership core now coming in, and it is going to get out some shots there. No real damage dealt. Metabolic boost has been completed. Zerglings may try to test that front door, and all they're going to see is that there are a whole bunch of destructible rocks already in position. Zerglings will have a very difficult time trying to come in here, as we are now going into an Oracle. Oracle now being added, and we'll see whether this Phoenix is going to spot anything at all. It is doing a quick fly around. Zerglings will spot this proxy pylon of ToD, as now the Queen's now making its way over to get in some easy shots on that mothership core. The mothership core now needs to back off. Zerglings attempting to take down the destructible rocks will be able to do so in just a moment. Level 1 weapons upgrade already completed. Overlord is off over here as well, and now we see that the Phoenix is going to go ahead and shoot down this Overlord with little to no effort. One additional strategy that we may see is energize on a mothership core. So what the mothership core can do is hide off over here and then wait for the Oracle to cast. Yeah, there's the energize, giving that Oracle a whole bunch of energy, and now the mothership core can just simply wait here, as the Oracle is going to block minerals twice with that Entomb, and then perhaps be able to come back again once more, since the mothership core is still regenerating energy. And this is much more of a mana battery strategy, I would say, that we've often seen in Warcraft 3, where the mothership core, it can act as a mana battery and then block mining in multiple locations. This is going to be interesting to see if it continues to happen, as the Oracle is simply just going to lie here and wait. All it needs is another 50 energy on this mothership core to give maximum energy to that Oracle. There is also a Void Ray out, so I believe this is almost the... no, this is currently the trifecta of units that you can get without a fleet beacon. All right, the Queen's now coming over, trying to destroy the rest of these shields that have been on the minerals there. We can see that there are Zerglings hiding in position here. Void Ray now making its way over, and we are simply waiting on more energy from this mothership core, and then we should see another reaction come out. So far, the Phoenix has only gotten 1 kill, and this is 4 flying units very early on coming in from ToD. And now a whole bunch of ground zealots to reinforce. This should be an interesting battle here. What is going to be happening? All right. Is the Void Ray going to go after those Queens there? Yes, it is. And now in comes the attack again. Zealots also leading the charge. There's a Graviton Beam. Only the Sentries and the Void Ray can attack it. Not much can attack anything else there, as we also see a Guardian Shield. Down goes 1 unit there, and now we are going to see another attack on a Queen. The Void Rays are fully charged, and the Void Rays are going to be able to snipe down these Spine Crawlers very, very easily. All right, there goes 1 Spine Crawler already down. This Spine Crawler is pretty much out of position. Not going to be able to attack much of anything else, but we are seeing Swarm Host. Swarm Host without any detection. This is going to be very, very problematic without being able to see any of these units here. And now all of these locusts will be just coming out and swarming and causing a whole bunch of problems. What is happening? The Oracle does not have the ability to reveal these units, and oh, another Swarm Host stays alive with 9 hit points left, and the Swarm Host should be able to hold this. This is going to be a huge factor, as a whole bunch of... oh, now we see a Graviton Beam Swarm Host. It needs to get taken down. It is also being revealed as well. There it goes. It is getting to get taken down here. What is happening next? The mothership core still in position, so they can retreat very, very easily, as all of these Swarm Hosts have pretty much nothing to attack. A new Queen. There is another reveal now. Beautifully done. Swarm Host now getting taken down. Infested Terrans popping out just in time to most likely get killed. And we are going to see more and more infested Swarm Eggs now come out as well. All right, 1 Infestor does get taken down. We are now going to go into the high ground here. ToD really opening up with a rather unorthodox strategy in Heart of the Swarm. And this was a beautiful play so far from what I've seen. Unfortunately, the mothership core now taking a lot of damage. Is it going to be able to escape in time? Down to 29. And we may see ToD come back over with another Entomb over here. Yes, we will most likely see that. There you go. Another Entomb. Stopping a whole bunch of resources from being mined once again. And that is going to be a huge play. Mothership core now down to pretty much no more shields. We could see that Oracle try to come back in and do another Entomb, causing more and more problems. ToD just doing a great job denying mining, as he is now establishing up his 3rd base. Dimaga's response will be going into air as well. Who has done more damage? Dimaga has lost more. Dimaga has also lost a lot of significant mining time here, as the Oracle now should be able to retreat, return home. Alright, this mothership, no way to really get repaired at all. And, oh, the mothership core with Energize and High Templars, that should be an exciting thing to see momentarily. It's really going to put a difference. Will Protoss players go for a mothership core strategy, or will they use a mothership strategy? One pylon now going to get taken down, both sides running up on 3 bases. Gateways being added here. And with 3 gateways protecting these photon cannons and a whole bunch of stalkers, that is going to be very difficult to try and push out. So far, there is a nexus already, or sorry, a hatchery being placed down here. Dimaga going for the gold, and he may come to regret it, especially with such a large air army just so far. We are coming into a corruptor as well. What is this Oracle going to do? The Oracle is going to once again come in and go for another entomb at this back mineral patch again. It is going to deny a fair amount of minerals, about, I believe, 400 resources with this entomb here. And there you go. Corruptor's now trying to make its way over, but the Oracle is surprisingly fast at a 3.37 movement speed, and the Corruptors are not going to be able to catch up at all unless there are new... Nope, those are just Zerglings on the ground. The Corruptor should be able to get away, moving slightly faster than the rest of those units here. Swarm Hosts now making their way over. The Swarm Hosts do have the upgraded life, 25-second lifetime. So that means that all these Swarm Hosts have a very, very long siege range indeed. There's a fungal growth, and this is going to be a horrible, horrible engagement for ToD, as those Swarm Hosts are essentially free. Psystorm now coming in. Psystorm being cast across their own Zealots. And what are these High Templars doing? The High Templar are not going to be able to do much, and they are going to die as soon as the Swarm Host eggs hatch, in a beautiful play of Swarm Hosts coming in. And the Mothership Core is going to get taken down alongside a Void Ray. Alright, talk about very, very far siege range. Locusts coming all the way over here, chasing after units. And that is perhaps a 25 range or something within that realm. So that is going to be very effective. Also, remember, Locusts, light biological units, 65 hit points, dealing 14 damage per attack. 14 damage per attack when upgraded by 2, and we could see, oh, what is happening here? All of those Swarm Host eggs just did die, but now we see a flank come in with a large group of Stalkers. The Oracle has been taken down. High Templar is going to get off a Psystorm on all of those eggs, on all those Swarm Hosts, but still not very effective utilizing Psystorm on top of Swarm Hosts. Swarm Host Loci, is it Loci or Locusts? Loci, as they are dealing a lot of damage there. Okay, so ToD with an army composition of Void Race, Stalkers, Zealots, and a Mothership Core with High Templar going up against a whole bunch of Locusts, and these Locusts are just absolutely so powerful. Oh my goodness, all of these Locusts are going to be able to just simply swarm in, get in so much damage. Should just perhaps try to take down these warp gates and slowly and surely just pick away at these units. Zealots and Stalkers now in position over here. Spine Crawlers. Dimaga going with that massive Spine Crawler strategy. A fungal growth hits all of those Zealots, and a chain fungal growth is going to cause problems, as we now see Loci making their way over and chasing after Zealots. The Loci, what is their movement speed on creep? Movement speed 2.5, the same as an Infestor off of creep. Slightly faster than a Marine and a Marauder, unless the Marine and the Marauder are stim. Slightly faster than a Zealot, if the Zealot does not have the charge upgrade. Okay, somehow Dimaga is able to hold on with these, 13 some odd Swarm Hosts, and they are just going to continue to peck away at all of these warp gates. Remember, these Loci actually have much higher DPS than Marines when they are not stimmed. I could probably do the calculations, but these Loci have very high DPS, perhaps even as high, as we are seeing the Locusts just simply move in here. 14 damage per attack going after the Nexus. Psystorm being wasted on those locusts in order to control them, but this is the Zerg, and the Zerg is just going to continue wave after wave after wave of units, and there's no real way to deal with all of this, being forced to utilize Psystorm once again on Locust, and he is still taking damage on his Zealots. Alright, there you go, you have it again. It really feels like this is an endless wave of Zerg units now swarming in to get in some easy damage onto these warp gates. You can see the damage, how quickly it is starting to add up here. Another gateway getting taken down, and all he is losing is time life. Alright, Zealots now looking to come in here and now go in for a spawning pool. The spawning pool is Psystorm, Archon now being merged here. And oh, that's going to be a very interesting play. All the Zerglings have pretty much been taken out, and now the Archon should be able to get one last hit off on that spawning pool. There it goes, and now this Archon gonna try to stop all of these Broodlings. An attack now in the center, Stalkers engaging here, Corruptors, a beautiful anti-air army against, or coupled with all of those Swarm hosts, very difficult to stop. But there is still an Archon in the base here, as we may see the Queen perhaps get zapped to death here. Alright, the Queen looks like it will get taken down. Infestors are coming out. It looks as though the Hive may get taken down as well. Another wave of Swarm hosts looking to come in, and ToD with really no answer to deal with all of these units. Coming back here, Dimaga still with a 40 supply, 50 supply advantage, and it looks as though that Archon, what is going to be happening, that Archon, all it needs to do, all the Swarm host needs to do is just focus some Swarm host eggs at that Archon, and that will pretty much be it. The Broodlings now coming out. The Broodlings going to take down that Archon, as we are now going into a Mothership Core army off over here. Archons on the move. No observer that I can spot. We are now going into a Greater Spire, and this is turning out to be a great game. 55 probes versus 64 drones. How many loci will be coming out again? You can see all of these Swarm hosts, how effective they are, and just how deadly these units are, as we are now going to go into this massive spine crawler wall. Massive spine crawler wall, very, very nice for Zerg as well, since spine crawlers are quote-unquote mobile stationary defense that you can just pick up and move, that doesn't cost supply. Alright, the Swarm host is going to need to back off here. Cannon is going to get taken down, and now we see Void Rays, Zealots, Stalkers trying to engage. Stalkers are getting in position, and here we go. An Archon absorbing a lot of damage, as alongside those Zealots. Coming back here are those Swarm hosts. Yes, they are going to be retreating. Another round of Zealots and Archons, or High Templars, are in position. More and more High Templars are also being added. It looks like this may get taken down in just a second. And now, what was that? Oh, it was a recall, or I'll just call it a town portal. Town portal coming back home. ToD, no stranger to town portals, as now we are going to be seeing perhaps these High Templar try and take down some of these Corruptors. Could have just Psystormed the Corruptors underneath, or at least feedback an Overseer first. Now feedbacking an Infestor, and the Archon is out. The High Templar could get a feedback off onto an Overseer here in just a moment, or wait for a Psystorm, as the Archon is just zapping things to death. Coming back over here, a massive spine crawler Infestor Swarm host wall, picking apart this, what was naturally the third base, a new third base being established by ToD, in a little bit more protected location, as we are now going to see an engagement shortly. Spine crawlers are here. Zealots, where are they going to be going? As the Zealots are looking to come in, it looks like that Archon taking a little bit too much damage, going to get poked to death. A new base also being established over here. The Zealot going to get torn apart by Zerglings, as we're going to see another hatchery get canceled in the center. Corruptors are in position. The Stalkers are going to be going after those Corruptors pretty easily. There you go. There is some chain Psystorm. That is a lot of Psystorm, followed by a lot of infested Terrans. And what is going to be happening here is chain Psystorm. Beautiful, beautiful play by ToD. Pretty much handling an army that is more than 70 supply larger. Alright, the Mothership Core, a free scroll of Town Portal to head back home when things get a little bit too dicey. And he has easily taken center or north control away from his opponent Dimaga, as a new nexus now being established. Alright, Archons are in position. You can see that the Spine Crawlers are now making their way over. Is it going to be enough? Some Spine Crawlers going to get caught in transit. What is going to be happening here? Are they going to take them down? They should try to take them down. There's a fungal growth. We could see some Psystorm. Yes, Psystorm on all of those infested Terran eggs right as they're hatching. Zealots now absorbing a whole bunch of damage. Locust, and there's the recall in order to get away. Where did they go? Heading back home here at the natural expansion. So far, free scrolls of Town Portal for ToD is helping him engage. And because Dimaga is not utilizing those corruptors to focus down the Mothership Core, the Mothership Core has been able to consistently teleport home whenever it wants to. Dark Shrine now being added as a massive Swarm Host Infestor Corruptor army now on the move. And these Swarm Hosts are just going to be so effective at taking down all of these units. All right, we'll see what's going to be happening next. Stalkers are going to look to engage, focusing down one Swarm Host, another Swarm Host now getting taken down. Psystorm could be coming in. There is some infested Terrans, fungal growth. Psystorm, no feedback necessary, or only feedback to take down all of those infestors. Units still backing off as we see more corruption coming in, more feedback coming in to take down two quick infestors there. All right, they could try to Swarm Host back up again. Collapsible Rock Tower. We are now going into Broodlords. Dimaga sitting on an 80 supply advantage, but ToD somehow able to stay in this game, even though his army is significantly smaller. All right, High Templars still poking away, or still trying to poke at this army. Perhaps cast some Psystorm on all of these Swarm Hosts. The Swarm Hosts are upgraded 2-1. No upgrade to 3-1 just quite yet, as the hatchery has been completed here. Infested Terrans now making their way up onto the high ground. And we are now on 3 bases to, I believe, 1 base to 2 bases. And that is no good news at all. Archons, High Templars now making a move. Broodlords with Broodlings coming into position, and that is going to spell absolute problems. We need to see some Void Rays in order to engage. Stalkers, do they have Blink? Yes, they do. They should be able to get underneath here in just a moment. And what will be happening next? Psystorm now being cast as the infestors are now making up onto the high ground. Stalkers blinking up onto the high ground there, trying to focus down one Broodlord, another Broodlord getting taken down. Archons unable to get up onto the high ground. There's another blink up onto the high ground there. So all the Broodlords will pretty much get taken down, as the rest of the Swarm Hosts, the Stalkers do not need to engage those Swarm Hosts. Not even sure why they even bother to engage, as their time life will be over here in just a second. 78 versus 167. One Dark Templar and one Observer absolutely destroying all of these attacking units here. This could cause problems. Zealots now making their way in, and you're going to see all of these Swarm Hosts try to back away. High Templars, getting destroyed here, and now there's a Guardian Shield. Should reduce so much of the damage, and now some of these infestors may actually get taken down. Yes, Observer does show up in time. Archon really zapping away at all of these units. Is it going to be enough? No, the Swarm Hosts look like they will be able to escape, as one Observer does get pushed back here. All right, 69 versus 152. Archon with 24 kills. Let's take a look at the total losses. Total losses higher for ToD. ToD is behind on bases. ToD will really need to have to work some magic in order to get back in this game. Income is even though... Oh, sorry, spoke too soon. Income is even in terms of minerals, not in terms of gas, as Dimaga really taking a gas advantage here. All right, gas has been mined out at both of the main bases, or the main and the natural. So Dimaga is currently running off of 3 gases at 1 set of gold mineral patches, or 2 sets of gold, and what would normally be considered the 3rd. Spine Crawlers now making its way over with mass Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers making their way over. Are these units going to be able to engage? No, look at those slow-moving Locusts with so much zoning and control of the map, able to catch units in transit without really having to worry about or commit any units. This is really Zerg-like. They don't care about the units at all, just going to continue to send them along their merry way. All right, here we go. Zerglings making their way over. Zealots adding to themselves here, going to be slicing and dicing some of these Zerglings. Mothership Core now on the defensive, acting as a little bit of defense. Will it be enough? Stalkers are now in the low position here. Will they be able to blink up onto the high ground? That is the key question. Yes, just blink onto the high ground. Thank you, ToD, as the destructible rocks do get taken down. adding a little bit more defense here. All right, more and more workers getting transferred over to this third base. These destructible rocks could get taken down here in just a second. What? No. ToD now trying to break down the rocks himself, as the Locusts are unable to get up onto the high ground, and this is actually buying a lot of critical time. This is important. Dimaga trying to send his units up the ramp, unable to do so. And if Dimaga doesn't realize this, no, he does realize this now. It's not going to work out all too well. You can see that those Locusts are going to take down these rocks here. Are they going to continue to make their way up once again? It looks like they will be doing so. And this did buy about a minute and a half of time for ToD to regroup himself. Is it going to be enough? That is the question. All right. Swarm hosts now making their way in. You can see that all of those units are coming in. Psy Storm causing so much death across so many of those units. Dark Templars now slashing away again. But in comes the next wave of Swarm hosts loci. Zealots, Dark Templars, both sides continuing this fight. There's a Psy Storm, but all of the Locusts are going to survive, and a new wave going to come in. How is Protoss dealing with all of these Swarm hosts? Very, very high DPS. I believe each Swarm host drops off 2, and you can see that the Psy Storm, even though the loci are walking through it, now this is just a Time Life army at its best. Broodlings and Swarm hosts dropping off the kids to play, not caring if they're dying. All right, another Swarm host does get taken down here. Infestors, there's a fungal growth Swarm host coming in. There's some infested Swarm eggs as well, infested Terrans, as the Broodlords are just going to continue this pressure. I believe ToD is going to have to give the GG. There's no way that he can really get back into this unless a miracle happens. ToD saying, you think it's fair? And Dimaga countering with, you need Tempest in order to deal with it. But I don't know if I agree with that, especially with Corruptors on the field. The Corruptors would just absolutely destroy Tempest. Alright, so Dimaga and ToD, two very, very well-known European players, just chatting it up, having a little bit of a conversation here. So I'm just going to read this out. We pretty much know that ToD is going to give the GG at this point, but this conversation is looking really interesting. Tank? Yeah, what unit is tanky besides the Archon? Zerg, some of Zerg's greatest abilities is just that all of their units, or the majority of their damage, is all normal damage, meaning, and what I mean by that is all of their damage all of their damage does a base amount. So that is what I'm talking about there, or all of their damage hits all units equally as effective. So Zerglings, Roaches, Hydralisks, Tempest all do a lot of damage, and they don't deal bonus damage to Armored, as saying that is going to be the more effective target. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to Game 3.